Yes.
And I'm back. Okay. Yeah, all right. I just needed to
Welcome to
regain my
Women in
confidence.
STEM. Stars, Alan Tudyk, Evil Guy, and metalworking. Of course, we're talking about A Knight's Tale. Oh, that's good.
I had to push the time back so that I could eat a bagel.
Oh, smart. A nice half-hour bagel. It's just what
Best.
the doctor ordered.
It always is. There's never a wrong time to eat a bagel. Do you want to know if it was
That's
cream cheese
true.
or peanut butter?
Um, yes, I do want to know if it was cream cheese or peanut butter.
Okay. Do you want to guess?
No.
Okay, I'll just tell you then. It was peanut butter.
Nice.
Yeah.
If I had guessed, that's what I would have said, but I just didn't.
Well, that's fine. You don't
Not because
ever
I
have
didn't
to
think
do
I could get
anything.
it, but yeah, that's a dangerous mindset.
Yeah. The last time I ate a bagel, it was cream cheese, and so you have to alternate. It's you know, for balance. You have to get all
Oh.
your nutrients.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The two nutrients, bagel with cream cheese and bagel with peanut butter. The two genders, you could say. Mhm,
How
mhm.
many wheels did tandem bicycles have? They have three, right?
Then wouldn't it be a tandem tricycle?
Yeah, but there's two. Hold on. Well, now I have to look. It is just two, but they have two sets of pedals.
Yep, that's what makes them so difficult.
Yeah, they sound, I mean, they're awful. They're really, really bad.
Yeah, yeah, they're not good.
Mm-mm. You know what else is really, really awful and not good?
Um, the government. I don't know. What were you gonna say?
That's
It was a
true.
really open question. It could have been. I'm not sure.
I went,
That's just
um,
usually a safe answer.
that's, yes, and it's true. Um, I went to Allison's house last night because she had to watch a movie for a class, which is a fun sentence that I always am thrilled to hear. But do you know what the movie was that she had to watch?
Citizen Kane.
No, it was The Notebook.
For school?
Yeah, otherwise known as the worst movie
What
ever
class?
for old people. She told us.
Overrated films for old people 101.
I
Is that the class?
just don't know what it was for. She said it was for learning about old people, I guess, but I didn't think that was a real class. But then Kennedy said, "Oh, I thought about taking that." Or Grace said, "I thought about taking that." And I was like, "What?
No, that's a real class, but I don't
Learning about
understand what
old
the
people?"
notebook has to do with
Oh,
it.
because it's a movie about aging or some bullshit. I don't know. I can't find my chalk.
I feel like there are, I don't want to
A
say this
thousand
without
other
having
movies?
examples, but I feel like there are better movies that talk about aging, the passage of time, etc.
Do you know what movie Kennedy suggested we should have watched? Because she had never seen it, and we finished it, and she's like, that was bad. We should have watched Waking Ned Divine. Have you guys seen it? And I was like, I'm familiar.
Kennedy, number one fan, right here, just now.
Yeah, me
I,
too.
that's
I
genuinely
mean,
the
it's
greatest movie ever made. It's been my favorite movie
so good.
since I watched it at too young an age. Like
Yeah.
forever, my whole life.
It's so, I mean, entirely delightful for a thousand different reasons. But
Mhm.
most importantly, because it's not a bad movie that people are
Yeah,
obsessed with for whatever reason. Every
I don't
single,
really,
like,
yeah, I don't get the hype.
no, the thing is, too, it starts out so bad immediately. Like within the first 3 minutes, Ryan Gosling threatens to kill himself if she doesn't go out with him. That's the first 3 minutes of the movie. And then it just gets worse. How does it get worse
he's
from
the
there?
main guy.
Yes,
You
that's the
know, like
thing.
it's
It's
not
because
like sometimes they'd have like an opening of like, oh, here are all these failed relationships, and then there's like the main character guy, but he is the main character guy. And it's like
he is the main guy.
how
Hmm.
like it's not a romantic that's not a romantic thing ever, you know?
No. The thing is, she meets later when she's a volunteer in a hospital.
Uh,
She meets this guy who's in a full body cast and you can't see his face because it's covered in bruises, but he's like, "Can I take you out? My intentions are entirely dishonorable." And he like can't move. His arm is in traction above him, and he's like, ugh, you know?
mhm,
Um, and that works for me.
mhm,
Would work in isolation of having the worst male lead ever in a movie, but also turns out that guy's rich. He's a war hero, and
mhm.
he's also the best person in the whole wide world, apparently. Because even after she cheats on him, because they're engaged, they're gonna get married. Even after she cheats on this guy whose name is Lon, he's like, I just want you to be happy. I just care that you're safe and that you're loved. She doesn't deserve him. I am Lon Nation all the way. I'm like,
Lawn heads, shout out.
chime off in the comments down below. Let us know if you support Lon. I hate that movie so much. And I didn't tell her how much I didn't tell Allison how much I hated it beforehand because I would do anything for her and I didn't want to go into it being like pissy. But about
Mhm.
20 minutes in, I think she made a comment of like, oh, is the rest of the movie gonna be like this? And then it was like the dam broke and everyone could be like, oh, thank goodness, I don't like it either. It's yeah.
Mhm. That's honestly
So
that's a good feeling. That's the only good thing to come out of a bad movie.
yeah.
Complaining. Yeah.
Woo!
Woohoo! I didn't come up with any letters.
I have one.
I just made a wheel of future movies.
Well,
That's my one contribution.
that's
Okay, you have
good
a
because
letter.
it'll save us time for next week.
True.
Yeah, I have a letter. It's the letter T and it stands for Tudyk.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I mean, as much as I am a lawn head, I'm, you know, I'm a
You
Tudyk
can be
fan
a fan of
first.
two things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk raised me. That's what
Yes.
I've just recently have started saying that a lot. Like if there's something that I am a fan of, or like especially something that I like influenced me growing up, I just
Hmm.
say it raised me.
Yeah.
Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles raised me. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is like they're funny, you know?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
watch them sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan
That's a good
Tudyk
thing.
raised me. Yeah.
He's, you know what I love about him is he's just so, you know how people say that Johnny Depp is, he's like a chameleon, he can change into anything. I
Hmm.
mean, Alan Tudyk is that guy who's in everything, but you don't even realize he's in anything because you don't recognize him from thing to thing. Because he
Hmm.
just is so vastly different in each role. But that's him, baby.
Yeah.
He just bodies. I love him so much.
Yeah. He's so good. Yeah, I think that's like the main, I don't know. The thing about Johnny Depp is like, yeah, he's an actor. Like it's his job to become a chameleon in every role. That's his job. He's doing his job. But you
Hmm.
still, when you're watching a movie, like there's just something really distinctive about him, even though like he's playing a different role and he's playing it convincingly, it's still like, yeah, that's Johnny Depp. Alan, he's flying under the radar.
Hmm. Alan, and I would say Heath Ledger
Hmm.
because the thing is he's Heath Ledger in this movie,
Hmm.
but then he's in The Dark Knight, and
Hmm.
I don't know who that is
He's the
because
Joker. He just
that's not
is the Joker. Yeah.
yeah, but that's not William from that's not William A Knight's
No.
Tale.
No, no,
Totally
no.
different guy.
It's not
And
William
that's
Knight's tale. It
amazing.
is the Joker. The
Yeah,
actual character. Yeah.
the actual guy. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like for years I've had a hard time believing that. And even still watching the two things, I'm like, I just don't I think that's a different guy. I think they're lying. I don't think that's Heath Ledger. I think they just cast someone else. Because there's no
Yeah.
way. There's no way that's him. I don't believe it. But it is.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I can't
And that's
reconcile
why
the
he's
two.
the greatest actor of our time.
That is so true. And I know you know this. I have always
I've
said
always
that.
said that. It's like
Yeah.
we always say, Heath Ledger is the actor
Heath
of
Ledger,
our
you
time.
might say Heath Ledger is the British Mendler of, you know,
British.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna comment on that.
He's not even British.
I'm not gonna
Like it would be funny if it was like the British Bridget Mendler, so you're just it could have been like a little joke.
I don't know what happened. I'm gonna cry.
Listen, dedicated listeners will know it's midterms, and so we're not all there, and that's a
N-
good enough excuse
I
for this
went to
week.
sleep at
It's
4 in the morning
midterm.
last night. I have no excuse for that. And I don't have any excuse for my behavior today. I'm sorry.
I've slept like 4 hours 2 nights in a row for no reason. Like I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. And then hours later, I'm like, hello, I'm still here. Anyway, there's an S in STEM. That could be
Yeah.
something. T for
Um,
Tudyk, short for Alan Tudyk, a man
Tudyk,
of all
uh-huh.
time.
Mm-hmm. Um,
If there's anybody out there who doesn't know who we're talking about, you know the meme of the guy with the dinosaurs and he says, "Ah, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal." That's him. And now you know.
mhm.
You know everything there is to
Yeah,
them.
but if you still want more, there's
Don't
never
worry,
too
there's a
much.
whole yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You've got
keep
plenty
talking
of
about it.
material.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I had the letter T and I'm just not even gonna try anymore. You're gonna have to carry the weight of the other three letters.
M can
I
be
need a
for
moment.
that's fine. Should I keep talking while you or should I wait? I'm
Yeah, no,
fine
you go
either way.
for it. You go crazy.
Okay. I
If
was
I need
thinking
to,
that
I'll
the M could be for metalwork because of the girl who they're like, you can't work metal, you're a girl. But then she's like, actually, I'm better than all of you. And then they're like, okay, she ate just that one thing, and they let her join their team. And they become feminists. They overcome their misogyny through this experience with a um talented woman.
I like that. That's
So
good.
that's something. Metalwork. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Um, Geoffrey Chaucer is in this movie.
Yeah, he is. Just as a character, like a guy.
Just yeah, not the main one.
No, he's just there. It's
Um,
so fun. You know, when
it's
movie
good.
it's like in Ever After where like Da Vinci is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why these two movies are so good. That's something to
Yeah.
consider. Anybody who's out there
They're
thinking about making like a historical fiction piece, include a real person from history who existed, not the main character, just a buddy.
no. He's just
And then
there.
it'll
Only a
work.
little bit. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna mean it too. Ever After and A Knight's Tale are spiritual cousins.
I think
They're
so.
not
I think they
directly
exist in the
related.
same world.
Yeah.
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 They're not siblings, yeah, but cousins, I
No,
think
certainly
is,
not
yeah,
siblings.
that's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. There's two times that Paul Bettany shows his bare ass in this movie,
that's true.
and I think that's good, but there's no those are none of the letters.
Yeah, I mean, ass has two S's, but
That is true.
but I don't know
Oh,
if it's maybe the best move.
E could be for evil guy because Rufus
There's
Sewell
an evil
plays
guy.
the evil guy
Yeah.
who is he's only played the evil guy ever in his whole career. I love him for that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. We could do that if you wanted.
Evil guy. So then we just need an
Hmm.
S, which could be bare ass
It could be.
with a capital S at the end. But it also could be something else if we think of it.
If we wanted to stars,
Stars.
a man can change his stars.
Yeah. We've done it. Yes.
And I'm back. Okay. Yeah, all right. I just needed to
Welcome to
regain my
Women in
confidence.
STEM. Stars, Alan Tudyk, Evil Guy, and metalworking. Of course, we're talking about A Knight's Tale. Oh, that's good. You even put the time of day.
Yeah, I did.
Yay. Cool.
Okay. Maybe I can make it go this way. Sorry.
It just locks. Your screen is locked vertical, so you're sideways the whole time.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Um, I really, really like this movie a lot. This was one that I genuinely did raise me. My dad showed this to me at a very, very young age. He just kind of always had a read on me. He's like, I don't think you'll like this movie, but I'm going to watch it and I'm going to enjoy it. But then sometimes he'd say, you have to watch this movie. I don't care if you want to or not, because I know you will like it. And that was this one. It starts with a man who shit himself to death. That's the opening of the
Yeah,
movie.
it does. Yeah. This is the
Amazing.
best movie ever.
Yes, and if you doubt that, it just keeps getting better. Like that's not, don't worry, that's not where it ends.
Yeah, that's just only the beginning.
Yeah, because the next scene is Queen's "We Will Rock You" during a medieval joust. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Whole life. That's like, that is the peak. The music stops when the people with the really, really long horns put them down. Like they were playing Queen's "We Will Rock You" out of their.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Out of a
That is
herald's bugle. Yeah.
hysterical.
That's very
Yes.
funny.
Yeah. That's that's the vibe of the movie, is like it doesn't. I was thinking about it when I was watching it yesterday, getting ready for this, is because it's really funny. There's a lot of good humor in it. It's really clever jokes. Um, there's a moment where the three characters are having a conversation, and there's just a dead guy hanging from a rope in the background, and they don't even really mention it. He's just kind of there,
Yeah, it's like
but
set
it's
dressing, it's world building. They're like,
yeah,
we don't have to address it. Yeah.
yeah. So it doesn't take itself too seriously in that regard, but it's also very sincere. Like you can have funny moments where the dead guy's hanging in the background and they don't care, but then also when William says a man can change his stars, they don't treat that one like a joke. They treat that seriously. He's allowed to be sincere and genuine and heartfelt, but also Alan Tudyk is there, and
Yeah.
then Paul Bettany is naked.
And
For
that's their vibe. That's the dynamic of those two
yeah,
characters. Imagine if a
yeah.
guy was there and a different guy was butt naked, you know? That's the movie.
That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that the yeah, they're making like a story about medieval times, but they don't have to worry about it being like so realistic. They're just like, oh, it would be funny, like since they're at a stadium, if everyone's singing "We Will Rock You," like that's funny because that's what people do at stadiums now, right? And so like, why not just do
yeah,
it? You know?
yeah. Later in the movie, we've got
And I like it, it kind of implies that like you could think of it as just like, oh, people made it in modern times, and so they're referencing how people play Queen in stadiums. Or you could say this song, once it was invented, it had always existed. Like "We Will Rock You" is such a stadium song that it has existed since the idea of stadium sports have existed.
It didn't exist before Queen wrote it, But after they wrote it, it had
After they
always
wrote it, it
existed.
existed through all of time. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the interpretation that I choose to go with because I like it and it's funny to me.
Yeah, I'll incorporate that into my belief system, sure.
Yeah, why not?
It is really good. And also really good in that they have David Bowie playing in another scene.
Yeah.
So if you had any doubt that this was a perfect movie, we've spoken about David Bowie extensively on this channel before. We don't need
But
to go
just
into it
as a
anymore.
recap, a movie that has David Bowie in it or David Bowie music in it is good.
Yes, that's why Shrek 2 is perfect, because it has David Bowie in it. That's why The Prestige is a perfect movie, because David Bowie plays Nikola Tesla. That's why.
Yeah.
And I know this is going to be controversial. Zoolander is nearly a perfect movie. Only nearly, because he's not acting as anything. He's playing himself as David Bowie, which is funny. But I also think that he could have been in it for longer, because he was only in there for a couple of scenes, and I think that was a mistake.
It could have been his movie, you know?
Could have been, yeah. But other than that,
It's
like,
okay. It just shows his versatility, his humility, you know?
yeah, he can sing,
I'll
he
accept a
can
small
write
role as
songs,
myself. Yeah.
and he's got a
Poor
fun little
guy.
sense of humor. He's like, yeah, my introduction, I'll just whip off my sunglasses and be David Bowie. And he
No notes, please. Just go and do it.
none needed.
That's how I
Everyone was
imagine it would be. Like,
weeping.
imagine directing a movie, but David Bowie's in it. Like, would you not just be like, all right, let him do his thing?
I'd hand him my notes. Like, I'd let him be the director.
Let him sit in the chair.
Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Bowie.
He's sitting in my chair. You're like on the floor next to
him. Kicking my feet and giggling.
Me when David Bowie is on set in a movie that features David Bowie, he's cast in it and he's one of the characters.
That's why I respect the Labyrinth so much, is because he was in that movie, but the Jim Henson production company didn't do that. They said, David Bowie's production manager was like, so don't talk to him when he's not, like, don't interact with him, don't mess with him, like, just let him be professional, please. And Jim Henson's company, they were like, what if we didn't do that? And they just kept pranking him with the creatures, with the puppets, like, consistently through set, and he loved it. He exactly, like, he went crazy for it. He was having so much fun. That's why he is, like, so thrilled when he's in the, like, on set. You can see he's genuinely having fun, because these creatures, they've been playing pranks on him. They're buddies now. Yeah, and I just don't think I'd have the strength to do that. So I really admire them for that.
Jim Henson is a better man than I am, you could say.
It's true in a lot of different senses. What? Cool. Oh, you have water, and it matches your outfit. You're very green today.
Yeah, I kind of just own a lot of green clothing, and sometimes I'll put on an outfit and I'm like, oh, is this too much?
Never too much green. I think God's favorite color is green, because a lot of the planet is green. Except for maybe it's blue, because a lot of the planet is blue when you look at it from space. So who knows? Who's to say, really?
And it depends on if he lives in space or not.
That's true. Guess we're going to have to hide a collab, find out.
Yeah, there's so much to think about there.
Much to think about. Did you get my text I sent you? I think it was early this morning. Interesting implication vis-a-vis a Reeboks with the straps.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say to anybody for days.
That's so funny. I love, everything about it, how it's like a little bit academic in phrasing, but the subject matter is so stupid. That's everything. That's so good.
Yeah, vis-a-vis. That's, I mean,
like, who
come on,
that?
So me good. Now.
Interesting implications vis-a-vis a Reebok with the strap.
Reeboks with the strap. I can't, like, I'm gonna be sick to my stomach. It's so funny. Oh, I was gonna say a lot of these are just like little details that I wrote down that I found funny when I was watching it, and so the list is very long because there's a lot of really good moments. But
True.
one interesting thing about the production of the movie is this movie was the source of a lawsuit when it was coming out because the production or the marketing team decided to invent a reviewer and a magazine and just heaped tons of fake praise on the movie that wasn't real, but they pretended that it was because technically that wasn't illegal when they were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's illegal now because of
Yeah.
them, but I just think that's really
Nice.
good to be the source of a law that's mostly harmless,
Hmm.
but to get people to see a movie that's worth seeing. It's really good. It's not like they
Yeah,
tricked
I
people
mean,
and they walked away disappointed. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's high quality.
yeah,
What more
it
do you
is.
want?
Yeah, that's so good to be the inventor of
Mm-hmm.
a law. Like, when you go somewhere and there's like a list of rules that are too specific.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so good. Like, to be the guy who made them put up the updated rules.
Yeah.
You may not reverse the lazy river, for example.
Specific. You know how it's like most safety regulations are written in blood?
Uh-huh.
It's like that, but most specific rules are written in a stupid idiot guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like how you and I were the reason that on our mission they had to ban playing cards again. That is something that will go to
Uh,
my grave being as one of the proudest
yeah,
things I've ever had a part in.
it's my greatest accomplishment. I wish they made diplomas for that. I could
I could make you a
put that
diploma for
up on
that.
my wall.
I can get it
Yes.
embossed with like gold and stuff. I'll make it fancy.
Yes. That is so funny.
Genuinely, I mean, it's just downhill from there, you know?
Yeah.
I get a job,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't even really care about it. Did you know that when I was 20
Okay,
years
but did you
old,
know that have you ever been in a situation where card games are against the law? And is it ever because of you?
because you invented a game and then it went too
And
far?
it was too popular. They were like, we gotta shut this down. People are having too much fun.
I still can't believe that happened. Why are we so cool?
We couldn't help it. We were
No.
raised by Alan Tudyk.
Ellen Tudyk and Colin and Ryan. Your drink is reminding me of another part about A Knight's Tale.
Wow, how fitting.
Yeah.
Tell me
It's
more.
okie dokie if you insist. It's when Jocelyn's girl bestie comes up and says, "Hey, what color is your tunic tonight?" And
Hmm.
then the guy panics and says, "Green," with green trim because the tent that they're standing next to is green with green trim,
Green.
and
Yeah.
everyone turns to look at the tent.
Green.
Yeah. And then
It's
he
like,
hand
what's a
sews a
tunic?
tunic. And it looks good.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
good. I also like the blend of like again, they're doing like the medieval thing, but they don't have to go too far into it. So it's just like extremely 2000s costuming in the like
Oh my gosh.
ballroom. The
Yes.
spiky hair and like the straps and whatever, and you're like, okay, sure. They
Okay.
all look
Go
good.
off. I could have lived in the medieval times.
Jocelyn. Yeah.
She's got red like feathers in her hair.
Why not?
You know what Mike would say about her? Is mother, I think.
Mother. Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
guess, but my mouth is full. Yeah.
Oh.
If you didn't say it, I would have, is what I'm saying, because it's clearly the correct answer.
Absolutely. I mean, there's one
Yeah.
correct conclusion to draw from this movie, and it's Jocelyn equals mother.
Mother. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing just at random that I like is when he sends her a letter because he had snapped at her before and he sends her a letter to apologize and to kind of express his feelings. It's
Mhm.
a collaboration between everyone on the team, but it and that I think is phenomenal. Everyone just is like sharing their like best
Like, oh,
lines, but it
this is
also
what love is to me. I mean,
yeah.
like it's so vulnerable, but they try to like play it off as like not a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when she's reading the letter out loud, Watt is like visibly sobbing in the corner and he's got his handkerchief and then he's got to hand it to her because she starts crying too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't feel like a lot because I feel like in some movies they frame feeding a line to somebody as it being cheating, right? Because it's not your
Mhm.
words. But this one, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like cheap or like,
Or like he's just using somebody else's words, but like yeah, I think it just feels
yeah,
like a genuine like collaborative moment where they are just genuinely saying like, well, this is what love is to me, and I think it would be better
yeah,
if you maybe you phrase it this way and then it sounds better. It's like when you're like trying to think of how to like text somebody back, and you're like, if I say this, is it too? And they're like, maybe, you know.
yeah.
I saw a video of some guys doing that. Like they had the one guy's screen like blown up on a projector and they're all like,
Shut
no, see
up.
here when she says this, bro, you gotta like you gotta match this energy. He has like five friends dissecting her texts
you
to
gotta
tell him
they
how
gotta get a
best to
marker
respond.
and like edit it on the it's like projected on a whiteboard or smart screen.
Yeah.
That's
That's how
fun.
it should be.
Yeah.
And then
And
it's
that's
yeah,
what
and
this
then it's
movie is
not cheap.
saying.
It's like something that you have genuinely thought about and you've consulted other people because it matters to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's passionate and cute. Um, I also what you were saying about the blacksmith, Kate.
Mhm.
Her name is Kate. She's a phenomenal addition to this movie because they were
Yeah.
like, well, Jocelyn's here, but also it's a little bit male heavy. Um, yeah, bring in Kate. And it's amazing because she is so crazy talented. They see that right away. And also, there's no sexual tension between her and anybody else on the team.
No, like she just immediately becomes like one of the guys, which is
Yeah.
refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
sexual tension within the team is between Watt and Chaucer.
Yeah.
Like weird energy here, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, why do you keep threatening to beat him up? You want to get your hands on him, huh? Like that bad?
Like you're trying too hard. Be like, no, I hate him. I wanted and you're like,
I want to fong him.
okay,
Hmm,
that's not a
if you say
euphemism at
so.
all.
No.
No. Yeah, and I like the how it without pointing it out and being like so heady about it, it just is like there's a woman who's a blacksmith and a man who like is a really beautiful seamstress, you know? And they don't
Yeah.
make like it doesn't have to be weird and they don't have to be like, look what we're doing. They just do it. And it feels so natural, but it still is like a subversion of expectations in a way,
Hmm.
but it doesn't have to be like such a statement, you know?
Yeah.
It's good.
They're not
Yeah,
so
Kate's the blacksmith and
self congratulatory. There it
yeah.
goes. Yay. Yeah. There's a little moment where they address it in movie because they recognize, I guess maybe historically it would be a little weird, but also we're not too focused on historical accuracy anyway. So we'll
Yeah,
make
like it's
one
just a
little thing.
story. So yeah.
He's like, well, the other blacksmith said you couldn't do this anyway. And she's like, why? Because I'm a girl. And he said, no, they said you're just bad at your job.
Yeah.
And that's it. From then on, it's just
Mhm.
like normal.
Yeah,
That's, yeah, that's good.
that's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
funny. Hmm. Let's see. What else do I have here? Mm, I like how the armor in this movie, you know how sometimes when characters in movies and TV shows are wearing armor, it just doesn't feel like you don't feel the weight of it. And when they
Mhm.
have like sword fights, it just feels like really elegant and pretty.
Yeah.
None of that. vibe
No, this
in
guy's
this movie at
clearly
all.
an amateur. He's clearly wearing armor that was made for somebody else who shit
Yeah, that
himself to
weighs
death.
he shit himself to death.
It's way too heavy and he's not used to it and it's uncomfortable and yeah.
It clearly
And
weighs like
like
80
they're
pounds.
jousting. Like people are falling off of horses and stuff and they make it like yeah, you're not just gonna elegantly fall off of a horse. Like they show like
Yeah.
actual falls. Like it feels like ooh,
You feel the impact.
yeah.
And yeah, there's one moment where they pull a big old splinter like this big out of Rufus Sewell's armpit.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I feel that. Like
You're like
every time I think that's not gonna bother me. And then every time I'm like, ugh,
no.
please stop.
Don't hurt my boy.
No, I've had enough. Please call it. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's just feels so
You really feel
visceral.
the stakes, even
Yeah.
though it's not meant to take itself too seriously. It is meant to like feel real in some way, and I think they really nail
Mm-hmm.
that there. You feel the stakes, you can feel the damage on his body
Yeah.
as he's jousting forever, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty good.
It is pretty good. I'm just gonna keep going through my list if that's okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think we've found a system that works.
Yeah.
Really, all the ones where we just have a list and just talk about it tend to go better.
That's weird, isn't it? Like having preparation or something.
Yeah,
Interesting. Hmm.
beats me.
Um, I like that for the first little while, for like the first 20 minutes, we don't really understand the rules of jousting. But then we meet Jocelyn and she's talking to Rufus Sewell, who is again the evil guy who only plays evil guys. That's his role in
Yeah,
this movie. He's not
he's
three-dimensional.
so good
He has
at
no
it.
depth.
Yeah.
He found
He's like,
his
I'm going to
niche.
win, and I'll silence anyone who gets in my way. You could say,
Yeah.
yeah, he's good at that.
He is. He's phenomenal. He
Mhm.
could silence anyone who gets in his way, and he he sure tries really hard.
Yeah,
Another thing that I find funny, and this is not a critique on this movie, but I've because Jocelyn is very clearly interested in Sir Ulrich, right? But he gets mad that she's not interested in him, and so then he tries to get rid of him and is weird, like confused when she doesn't want to get with him. And I know what that mean. I know it's like, oh, he doesn't see her as like a person with opinions. He sees her as an object to be won and is like weirded out when she doesn't immediately fall for him. But also, like, what do you want? Why do you want someone who's so clearly not interested in you?
yeah.
What's your problem? They don't
Well,
want
it's the
you.
yeah. It's just the same thing though of like I'm a winner. I have to get
Yeah.
everything that I want.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like the idea of like anything that he wants can be conquered and attained, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad guy, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But Jocelyn says to him, oh, well, I just don't really know the rules of jousting. And then she turns to look at her friend like, girl. And you know
Watch
she's
this guy try to explain it to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know she's playing. You know
Yeah.
she doesn't really need him to explain the rules, but it's a nice little inclusion because the audience doesn't know the rules of jousting. Now we get to
Mhm.
learn through this jackass mansplaining it to this
To
girl
Jocelyn, who
who
already
was in
knows because
full
she goes
control.
to the events. Like
Yeah,
she clearly is aware of what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really clever way to do it without being too heavy handed with letting the audience know. Like, this wasn't in the very first scene of the movie. We have to see a few joust matches first and be
Hmm.
confused. And then they're like, okay, here we go. But like, I
Yeah,
thought
I
it was
like it.
very
And
well
it's not
balanced.
like, yeah, somebody sitting down and like explaining to the main character what's going on, and you're like, okay, this is obvious. Like, it's too heavy-handed. Yeah, it's a little too
Yeah,
much. And
because
I
he's
also
been
like that it
doing this for
works.
years.
Yeah, it works as like as well in letting you know what the characters are like because
Yes.
he's so serious and he like doesn't understand her and he has to win and he has to be right, you know, so he's gonna explain it. And she's clearly joking.
Yeah.
She likes to watch jousting. Like she goes to the events, she knows the rules and she knows what's going on. And so like later when she meets like Ulrich and they have kind of like banter and he's a little awkward, but he can tell that she like is lighthearted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they try to like match that energy a little bit more. So again, shows like, oh, this guy just wants to like win and be right and explain everything, and she
Yeah.
is fun loving and doesn't want to be put in this box, and nobody understands that.
Yeah.
So
And
it
also
helps
doesn't want to
like
be
it
treated
just
like an
feels really real.
object.
Yeah, it feels real for
Yeah.
the characters and it helps the audience understand what's going on.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was very, very good. Like that. It's a silly, goofy movie, but you can tell there were really talented writers involved because you're right. It's successful in every different way. And that's
Yeah. Made its
really
money.
impressive that they're able to do that. And it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to top it all
Um,
off, it'll make you laugh actually.
and it always will.
Mhm.
Take it from me. I've seen this movie for 25 years of my life. It's good. Um, I like to during that match because she watches Sir Ulrich as he jousts, right? And Rufus Sewell, and I don't know his character's name. That's why I keep calling him.
When you
I,
watch it,
they,
it's just like that's Rufus Sewell. Yeah.
yeah,
He's playing
I
his
don't,
part so well. It's like the opposite of what we were saying before, where like you watch Alan Tudyk in a role or like Heath Ledger, and they just become the character so much that you only think of the
yeah,
character and don't think of the actor. It's kind of the
yes,
opposite with him, where he like embodies this character so well that you're just like,
he's
oh, that's
all of these
him.
characters at
He
once.
is, yeah.
Yes, it's not that he's not a talented actor. It's not that
No,
I
it's
see
that
him
he
and
is
think,
a
oh, he's
talented
trying.
actor.
It's yes, he is a talented
Yeah,
actor and he is just playing Rufus Sewell and he's a little scary. And
yeah.
I love
And
him for
Count
that.
Adamar, I think, is his
Yes,
name.
that's right. Adamar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, Adamar. Um, he's like kind of making fun of him a little bit, but also they're commenting on his technique or lack thereof and how he jousts.
Yeah,
They say he's fearless. He doesn't turn away at the last second, even though it could damage his eyes. Like even though splinters could fly in through his helmet slits. The one guy says, "I don't want to fight. I'm hurt, but I also don't want to quit before. Like I've never not finished before." And Ulrich says, "Okay, well then we'll call it a draw." And
hmm,
Adamar is confused. He's like, why didn't he just finish him off then? He was hurt. Clearly, he could have taken the advantage. And Jocelyn says, he showed him mercy. Like he's fearless, he's determined, and he is kind and
yeah.
thoughtful. Like she's able to, even though they don't interact a lot in the first bit of the movie, it's kind of like a little bit love at first sight. But she can see his personality and who he is as a person in the way that he jousts. Again, because she knows jousting well enough that she can pick up on
Hmm.
these things. And I find that very
It's
sweet.
good sportsmanship. Like I love that like it's like
Yeah.
they're behind the scenes in the locker room and he's like, "Look, dude, like I'm out. I can't do it." And they're like, "Okay, respect." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he understands I think he understands that feeling and he's not willing to become the bad guy who just wants to conquer everything and be right and whatever, you know. He doesn't want to be Count Adamar.
Yeah. And it's that
He just likes jousting. He wants to be
yeah, and
involved
he's
with
good
it
at
and
it.
he has respect for the other people who do it and who are also good at it.
Yes, in both ways, right? So like he refuses to fight this guy who is saying, "Please don't hurt me." But also when the prince shows up and just wants to joust and no one will go against him,
Mm-hmm.
William is like,
It's like I will.
"Bet, okay." And neither of them win, but he wins this guy's respect for like
For
not
respecting
bowing
him
to his station.
as an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, well, he's like me then." And that the audacity of that statement, if someone who's faking his identity in order to compete in this thing, like you're a peasant, you have no noble birth, you're faking your way up in order to compete, well, he is faking his way down. And anyone who looks at that would say you're not on the same level in any way, shape, or form. But William is like,
And he's like, "Yeah, we're the same.
yeah,
We both have to
he's
hide
my
our
bestie
identity
though.
in order to play."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's, I mean, that comes back later in the movie when Prince Edward comes back into the arena of the film, I guess, but like it just shows you he's willing to take losses when he needs to, but he just has a very good grasp on empathy and being able to put himself in another's shoes. He's
Mhm.
a really fun character. He's a good guy. Oh,
Yeah.
and the
He's
mercy
just
too.
genuinely noble, like without being of noble blood, like he just is a
Exactly.
noble person. Yeah.
Exactly. Especially when compared to Count Adamar, who is a count, is supposedly better than everybody else, but he's a cheat and he's mean spirited. And Jocelyn immediately doesn't like him because he's snotty to William
Hmm.
and he's just a mean person. So yeah, it's this random peasant who embodies that nobility and that honor and integrity so much better than an actual person of noble standing. That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's really good. And I love that you see his personality throughout the entire, like it's not just once he becomes, popular and of good standing and has a high reputation. It's when they find Chaucer and he's got a gambling problem and he loses his clothes and he's like, "Don't worry, Ulrich will pay for me." And Ulrich is like, "Bitch, what?" But then he does
Yeah.
because
Like now I
and he
have
hasn't
to.
he has no reason to. Like he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
This guy has lied to them and now is trying to like it looks like just embezzle money off of them just to get out of a
Mhm.
sticky situation. But he does, and he earns Chaucer's loyalty for the rest of the film. And that's so it shows how much an act of kindness can do. And I mean, that's just what he does for this whole group of people that he's got around him. He just keeps kind of accumulating fans and friends and family because he's just a good guy. He's just
Yeah.
a nice person. He's just a nice, sweet little boy.
People just like being around him and he likes having people around him. So he's like, if I do a good turn, then, it's mutually beneficial, even
Yeah.
if it doesn't seem like it would be. Yeah. He understands the importance of having a ragtag team of misfits.
Yes.
That's like his
Mm-hmm.
main motivation.
And I've very rarely seen a movie where having a ragtag group of misfits does not add worlds to the story.
Mhm, mhm.
Even in Ravenous, where the ragtag group of misfits is only really together for about 5 minutes before they just keep getting
Yeah.
systematically slaughtered. It's good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you're writing a story, our recommendation, from doctors that you can trust, is to have yourself a ragtag group of misfits.
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't regret it.
You'll have to try pretty hard to get it so wrong, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Here's what we've got so far. There are a few lines that I really like. You have been made, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting. And he says that like a half hour into the film. Rufus Sewell says that to William slash Ulrich.
Hmm.
Um, and that comes back later when the rest of the team, it's not even
And he
Ulrich who
gets
says
to
it to
use
him.
his own line against him. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
Alan
good.
Tudyk and Paul Bettany and Kate and Roland.
Yeah, it's his ragtag team, of course.
Yeah,
It's the
he's
Misfits.
on the ground and the misfits lean over him and spit his words back at him, and it's the most satisfying thing I've ever seen in my life. Plus it's just a killer line. You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting.
Hmm.
Ow. But
I
hey.
know, but hey.
Yeah. Another line that I really like is after they rescue Paul Bettany from the gambling people. He says, "I'll get my revenge. Don't worry." And they're like, "Yeah, right." He's like, "I was naked for a day. You will be naked for eternity. I will immortalize you in my writing, and no one will look upon you favorably." And I've never read Chaucer, but I know that those two characters are in his book, and I
Hmm.
know that they're
And you
not
know the
good.
name of Chaucer, and you don't know the name of those guys. So.
I'm thinking something. I think you might have been right about that one. Jocelyn has one hairstyle in this. I think this movie has one flaw, and it's one single hairstyle from Jocelyn. I think the rest of
Mhm.
them absolutely slay. I just think this one is bad. And it's when she has this half of her hair pulled up like this, and then this half is straight out like that. And I don't like it. But
Mhm.
other than that, I think it's
But I admire
pretty
that
darn
they're
near
being
perfect.
creative. They're gonna let
Yeah.
her like, oh, she's kind of like, you know, doesn't want to be put in a box and doesn't want to be like objectified. So she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna do weird things with her hair, and everyone's like, okay, that's just how she
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
And she has such a different vibe every single scene she's in.
yeah.
And
She lives in outfit world for sure.
she does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe she's visited Barbie Land. Who knows? She's
maybe.
living it up though. She looks amazing in almost every single scene. I just personally don't like that one. I like what they were saying with it though. I like that
Yeah,
they were willing to try.
I agree. Hmm. I
It's
agree.
just that was one flop compared to every single other style she had throughout the movie. It balances out.
Mhm.
That's fine. It's not like that was one she had for for an hour and a
It's
half.
her main hairstyle. Yeah, she's
Yeah, no.
constantly changing and evolving, actually.
It's all about growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Women are ever
Women's stories
changing.
matter.
They just matter. Um, oh, I don't like the one spiky hairstyle, but her next scene is immediately the one where her hair is poofy and threaded and feathered with red, and she's wearing like a sheer dress at the ball.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she looks fantastic.
Phenomenal. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, no notes.
Hmm.
That one
Hmm.
completely erases the bad hairstyle of the previous scene because you just don't even remember that it ever even happened. It's gone. It's
It's
just
true.
replaced with this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
It's just slay after slay after slay.
That
She's
is,
so cool.
she eats every single scene. They're at a banquet and there's no food to be
Hmm.
found. You know why? Because
She
she
ate it
ate
up.
it all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 um, I like the prince, Kate, but no sexual tension, the collab love letter. I really like this line that Kate says, "How should we end it?" And she says, "Hope. Love should end with hope." And I think
Yeah.
that's like painfully cute, really, really good. And he also doesn't use Ulrich when he's signing the letter because he wants to use William, but they correct him and say maybe you should use Ulrich instead. That's what she
Hmm.
thinks your name is, and he doesn't use either. He just says your knight, you're in my heart always, or something like that. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't want
He
to be
doesn't
lying to
want
her
to
at that
lie
point.
to her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't lean into it any more than he has to.
Yeah.
Just
And I like
yeah, and I think
how
that's really good.
readily she accepts, like, when she learns that his name is William, she's like, oh, okay. Like, no questions asked. She's like, William, that's a nice name.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She doesn't
she's got it
care. She
bad.
likes him too much to care that he's like
Yeah.
pretending to be someone he's not because he's more real than any of those other bitches. And
That's
she
so
knows it.
true. That's Heath Ledger, baby, and she's in too deep to get out now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a really good movie. Plus, through the first half of the movie, she's pissed because everyone keeps offering to win the tournaments for her. And she's like, I've had a
Uh-huh.
freaking enough of these. I like
Just starts,
you're
just
winning it
win the
for
tournament
yourself.
then. Just win it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to be
Like,
here. Yeah.
yeah, it has nothing to do with me. You're winning it for your own reputation, for your own like self-love. If you really want to prove your love to me, you'll lose the tournament for me. And he's like, screw
Hmm.
you.
But wait,
And then
oh,
he loses
oh.
it. He's like, damn
He's like,
you.
I'm gonna win. I want to win for me, but
He
damn you,
physically
Jocelyn,
cannot
I
move his
am gonna
lance
lose for
up.
you. It's like,
Yeah. I love this scene too, where Paul
yeah,
Bettany's like, there, dude, there's your girl. And he's like, yeah, and I hate her.
yeah.
It's really funny. Like, because he
He's like,
values her as a
sorry, I'm
person.
paralyzed from jousting too much. I can't see you right now.
Like there are moments where he's kind of mean to her, he's a little snotty, but like he doesn't put on a facade at any point with her.
Yeah.
Like, and I think she appreciates that even when he is mean, and like don't interpret that in bad faith. Like I'm not saying
When
that
guys
it's
are mean, yeah.
yes, yeah, I know, Uh,
Yeah.
just to our thousands of viewers, I just want to make this clear.
Yeah.
They're
Stop
just
misinterpreting our words. It's
he just
becoming too
feels
much of a
real.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like that. Like he's never acting with her. He's never pretending. Not really. And I think that's good. And I like that. And
He
I think
doesn't
she
even
likes that.
really like know how, you know? Like even if
No.
he wanted to, I think he just that's not how he's wired. Like he is so sincere all the time.
Yeah. He's got one
He'll only
one state of being.
yeah, his one lie is that his name is Sir Ulrich, but like it's only so that he can live his true self as like a really good, you know, jouster.
The whole a man can change his stars thing. I love that he says that a couple times at the beginning, enough that you can tell it's an important phrase to him, but not so much that you're like, ooh, but we're gonna come back to that.
Okay, like
Yeah, like
find something else to
whatever.
say.
Yeah. It's
Read a
just enough that
second book. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But then you have a flashback with his father where he says he's just trying to comfort his little boy. He says, you can change. You can change your destiny. And I love that because that's ultimately what this whole movie is about, right? It's about choice. It's about the ability to choose in a world where you're not given the option to choose. You have one life, you're assigned that life at birth, and you just have to live it. But
He's like, what if not
you,
though?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can change. Like, even if you can't always choose to change your circumstances, William chose to be a good man. Like he made the correct choices at every joust. He's like, I'm not gonna hurt that guy. I'm gonna fight that guy because he wants me to. I'm not gonna be mean and do these. Like he chose repeatedly to be a good man, and eventually he can make the choice to choose to change his circumstances. That's
Mhm.
the whole movie revolves around that concept of choice. Like you're not assigned a given destiny, you make your own destiny. It's so mega mind coded, and I'm not going to say it again.
I like
Yeah.
too that I mean, you could so easily do like go like the Tangled route where they start out with the flashback of his father telling him
Mm-hmm.
this, and then you know from the very beginning that that's what his motivation is. Like that's the voice in his head is the voice of his father, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice that they don't do that. They start out with somebody dying because it's like they start out funny. You know the vibes like this is a funny movie. And then later,
So real quick,
once you've already gotten to know these characters and you care about them and you're invested in their story, then the reveal,
Mhm.
oh, he's motivated by his father.
Yeah.
He wants to change his life
Loves him.
and yeah, show like return the love to his father by making something of himself, which is all his
Yeah.
dad ever wanted.
It's really good. Just on the subject of the guy who shit himself to death at the beginning of the movie, William has two nose plugs in his nose, and then he hands them
Yeah.
to his friend for him to go inspect the body. And for some reason, he says right, left when he hands them. What could that possibly matter?
What
In
difference would it
what
make?
world does it matter that this one went in your right nostril and so it must go in this man's right nostril? What in the that is so funny. I'm gonna die.
It's very funny.
What?
Do you think that was part of the script, or do you just think that's like, like the camaraderie on set and you kind of get to know people's humor and like he's like, okay, so you hand him the nose things and then leave, and he's like, you know?
I like to
Either
imagine that it
way,
wasn't even
it's
an
very funny.
intentional joke. That it just made sense in his head, like how headphones have a right and a left.
Yeah.
I like in my head, I imagine him. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. This one's a right and this one's a left. Like it has to
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
for no reason. Like that's how I interpret it in my head. Is they were just so like no one thought to
William is just
question
so
whether it
genuine,
matters or
like
not.
it's not even a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
so funny. Go from that. immediately just beating well, I was gonna say beating the shit out of the dead guy. He doesn't really need to. But he's just kicking a dead
man. How dare you?
he's not dead, he's sleeping.
It's like, no, dude. He's gone.
Be normal about this. I love him so much. He's just not
like, I can't be out of a job. Wake up.
Oh, he's my best friend. I love him so much.
He erased me.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's another part later in the movie where Ed Chaucer, Gregory Chaucer, who, as we've established, is in this movie, he makes a bet with a bunch of Frenchmen. I almost said freshmen, not freshmen. Frenchmen. Equally insufferable, you might say.
A local college.
They bet that a Frenchman will win. Team William bets that William will win, and they all just have a moment where they are spitting insults at the French, and I just think that's good. And Roland has a line that I love, and he says, I'm going to read it out for you. The Pope may be French, but Jesus is English.
Yeah, that always like makes me laugh out loud. Like, it's not just like it's like I know that he says that, but it catches me off guard every time I watch it.
Every time.
Like, it's just so inaccurate. It's Palestinian. Jesus of Nazareth? No. It's so funny.
Really good. I mean, the one thing that we know and care about in this movie is that Jesus is not French. Go to hell. And they're right for that.
So funny. They don't
really
have to be
good.
right about where he's actually from. They just have to be right about where he's not from, which is France.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. I don't think he ever even went there. And I'm not saying anything.
There's another line at some point when this is while William is losing the match because Jocelyn told him to, and he's like, I hate her so much. I don't even care about God at this point. I'll say my rosary. This is what he says. I'll say my rosary to Jocelyn and no one else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as he's so mad at her. And I just think that Hozier got his start from watching this movie, hearing that line and going,
he's like, oh wait. I
take me to church. Yeah. And he just like the song just pours out of him like with no control, start to finish. Combined with music and backing vocals.
He felt like he had a cough and he's like, and the whole thing just came out. And then when he was done, he's like, did anybody hear that? Did anybody write that down?
Yeah.
Please tell me you caught that.
He was able to catch it with his extra long arms. He just went,
yeah.
My note for that was Hozier coded ass SMH, and I want it to be clear that the channel is an Andrew, like this is a Hozier friendly space. If you don't like Hozier, then get out. We don't need you. We don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like you either.
He told us so.
We have to defend this 34-year-old man from you.
Who's clearly suffering financially in popularity. He's he's like, really relying on us.
What's the YouTube podcast that has the least number of fans? I will depend on them.
Anyway, I only watched about 3/4 of the movie. I didn't get through the rest of it. I was gonna do that after we finished this because
Aw,
it's really good and I was enjoying it a lot. But that's all
it's
the
a good
notes
way
I
to
had.
wrap up your day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's anything that like we majorly missed. And
One more thing. I have one more thing. You know the scene where Paul Bettany is like hyping him up. He's being a good hype man and he's screaming and shouting all these random like literary
oh, he's
things
such a
about
good
him.
announcer. Yeah.
He's so good. He's a performer, baby. He's an entertainer. He'd do so well in the Hunger Games. And I say that
True.
with every fiber of my being.
True.
Anyway, there's one scene where he's saying all these things and no one in the audience is reacting. And he's kind of looking around and the team is kind of looking around and they're like, and so Roland goes, yeah. And then everyone in the crowd goes crazy. You know that scene?
Yeah.
Did you know that was unscripted? Did you know that the Czech extras who were in the audience didn't understand Paul Bettany? And so they didn't know when their cue was to cheer. So that Roland had the actor was like, oh, okay, I got it. Ah! And then everyone got it. And they just left it in the movie because they thought it was so funny.
Because it's funny.
It's hysterical.
And they know
that
how
was
to
always
do
my
things. They know
favorite
how
part.
to say, this isn't going according to my plan. It's going according to God's plan, which is funnier. You know? They don't have to
Yeah.
be beholden to the script because it's a
Mhm.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie followed God's plan, I think we can say. Yeah.
Speaking of things just coming out of your mouth without thought, I wasn't gonna say that, but I just had pointed and then it looked like I was pointing at God. And everything came together all at once.
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful, and I've always said that. Life is made more beautiful every day by the loving memory of Heath Ledger and his incredible acting in every movie he's ever been in. Of which I've
We
seen, I
love
don't know, 4. Counting The Dark Knight as one movie, I've seen probably 4 of his movies. Best movies of all time.
it is one movie. What?
Huh?
Counting the Dark Knight is
Trilogy.
one movie? Oh, but he's only in one movie.
Yeah. The whole
So
trilogy
odd.
matters because he's the Joker
Because he's
in one of them.
in one
Yeah.
movie. That's so true. And you're right for that. Except for the fact that Tom Hardy is. I had something happen to me a couple weeks ago. I had someone try to claim to me because you know how Tom Hardy is in the third one and he plays Bane and
He
he's
plays
like
Bane, yeah.
insane about it.
Famously, he plays Bane. Everyone
Yes,
knows that.
as
Yeah.
we all know. And I thought it was fairly well known that Tom Hardy made the voice for Bane, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had some guy try to claim to me a couple weeks back that Tom Hardy didn't voice Bane, that he did the acting and the body work, but some other guy did the voice for Bane. And he's like, if you listen closely, you can tell it's not Tom Hardy. And so I went back and I listened to it. I was like, I don't know what he was on. Because that is so Tom Hardy. It's not even funny. Like you can tell he's putting on a voice, but like that's Tom Hardy. And then I went and watched a GQ
He's never
interview
heard of
where
voice
he was with
acting?
Andy Serkis and he's like, well, someone was asking me how I did the voice, and I was like, oh, and suddenly it was Bane, just right
He
there.
just did it.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, yeah,
And that's so
who?
embarrassing to be like, oh, it doesn't sound like him. Well, like, yeah, he's acting.
He's
It
doing
sounds
a
like
funny
Bane
voice.
because he's
And they've
playing
got a
Bane.
modifier on him.
Like,
And Christopher Nolan famously doesn't know how to mix audio.
yeah.
Like,
So they weren't gonna do that for the whole movie, an entire character, every line in the whole movie. They're like, we'll just have somebody else do it. No,
no. And I was like,
no.
I don't even remember what situation I was in, but it was a weird enough social situation that I didn't feel confident enough. I was like, I'm not going to correct this random guy. I don't know him well enough. I don't want to be this person who like comes in and immediately is like, well, actually, even though I was like, I know you're wrong. I know you're wrong because I don't know everything about Christopher Nolan. I know damn near everything about Tom Hardy. I know what he did for that role and what he did not do. And there was not much that he did not do for that role. Okay? Don't come in here with that bullshit. Don't try to lie to me. Don't try to pretend like you know more than I do. You don't, quite frankly. I am Ron Swanson in Home Depot. Movies are my domain. I know more than you. Go away. Don't try. Anyway, that's that on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that guy, if you're watching or listening, it's not too late to change.
That's so true.
You can, listening and learning, you can growing, all that. It's okay.
Yeah. I'll forgive you. I'll move past this. I'm asking you that you watch more Tom Hardy movies because if there are two things that Tom Hardy does and does well, he puts on a weird thing to cover his face and he does a weird voice.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a constant.
And
And
it's like
you can
watching like the animated like Batman and you're like, that can't be Mark Hamill. That doesn't sound like Mark Hamill. And it's like, well, yeah. He's a voice
it's a
actor.
voice
Like
actor.
he's changing
Yeah.
his voice.
That's another one that
Interesting.
still I have a hard time reconciling because I see him on interviews and I hear him do the voices for people. I'm like, oh, that's Firelord Ozai. I didn't know you knew him. I know he's a voice actor. I know he's a very talented voice actor, but
I didn't know you knew how to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And for the most part, I feel like I'm pretty good at recognizing voice actors in other things, even when they're not always doing their same voice. I feel like I can recognize some things. Mark Hamill's one, I just never like. He slips right past my defenses. I never catch
You
it.
might say he's the British Mandalore of animated movie.
Hold on, I'm gonna just leave. Goodbye. I hate you. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'm not even kidding. This is worse than that stupid Coke party thing from a couple weeks ago. I feel like I'm gonna die. Anyway.
And we're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
Everything's
happened.
fine and we're super normal. Anyway, I think A Knight's Tale is so good. And I love it a lot. And I think if you haven't seen it, then you should watch it. And if you have seen it, but it's been a while, then you should probably watch it again. And if you have seen it just recently, then probably just watch it again for good measure.
Probably you should just
You
watch
can't
it.
go
Hey,
wrong.
you should probably, word of advice, you should probably watch A Knight's Tale.
I'm actually always saying that for real.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know that scene where he is all like wounded and he's like in bed and he's like, I can't move. And Jocelyn comes to visit him and he's like, oh, but I can't move. He's like, that's okay. And she like calls him William and he's like, yay. That's really nice.
That is sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of tenderness in there.
Yeah.
A movie about shitting to death. There's a little bit of tenderness, a nice little romantic moment.
This movie is ridiculous. In the best way. In the best way. That's the opening shot.
And it's not even like, it's not that he died. And then, like, which sometimes happens.
Right. But
it's
what they say.
He did crap himself first. So hard that his spirit left his body. That is what
gone,
happened.
but it's That's what they happens multiple times. They want you to be so certain of this fact. Oh my gosh, I'm 24 years old.
Well, yeah, and everyone working on that movie was your age or older. It's funny. Sorry that humor has no age limit.
If anyone is watching this and thinking maybe they're like, it's not that funny, like, calm down. Do you have no
yes,
heart?
it is.
If you think you're above a good poop joke,
you're wrong. You're just wrong. The thing is, like, it's not funny because it's a poop joke. Like, yeah, lots of things are like not that funny, and you're like, okay, whatever, not that big deal. But like you say, a good poop joke, it's good. Okay, it is funny. Like, you have to crack a smile at least.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Uh, I'm not going to
I hate to
apologize.
be the one to tell you this. Like,
Yeah.
yep.
Y-
I'm
That's
honestly
that on
getting a
that.
little heated.
I know, me too.
That's funny.
Okay, well, the three people I think we've highlighted today are Heath Ledger, Alan Tudyk, and um Hozier. There's the other one.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
And those are the three
Uh,
most important people in the world to me. They raised me, so.
amen. Amen. And hallelujah. Thank you.
Mhm.
God is good, and this movie is good.
Period. Bye. Thanks everybody for watching or listening.
Mhm. Okay. This isn't like that important, but there's a storage facility next to me, and there's a little red wagon that's on the roof of one of the buildings. And I couldn't see it for a second, and I thought, no, they've taken it down. But I just moved my head a little bit, and it was behind something blocking. I'll show you.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Like,
Like a
I'm
little
excited to
kid, like a
move,
little red wagon.
like a very, very small red wagon. Yeah.
And it's up there on
It's
purpose, perhaps.
I have no idea. It's upside down. I don't think it serves any useful purpose. It looks like it just got stuck up there one day. And every day I don't think they'll ever take it down, but that little red wagon means so much to me.
Yeah.
It's the one
It's a funny
constant in my
thing.
life.
It's a really funny thing to be stuck on a roof because it's not like a frisbee or, something normal. It's like a full wagon.
Yeah, you see
So
it?
that's funny.
Just a
Oh,
little,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's a very small red wagon. I don't know.
Huh.
It's been there the whole time I've lived here, and I love it so much. But yeah, sorry. We could have ended it a little while back. I just got worried there for a second.
Like the wagon. It's fair. I
But
mean, it's funny.
everything's
It's a
fine.
funny thing to be on a roof. It is.
It's a really weird thing to be on a roof. Yeah, shouldn't be up there. But I think I'm the only one who can see it because my room is the only one that's facing this way, and
Hmm.
no one in the facility would be able to see it, I don't think. And it's kind of behind another building, so the apartments on the other side of the street couldn't see it from there.
Yeah, like you only can see it because you're on the top floor on
Hmm.
that side. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know. It just feels like a
What a
special little
special.
treat just for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well,
good thing the little wagon is there.
yeah.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
everyone.
Everything's fine. You needn't fear. I'll update you on the little red wagon next week.
Good. Okay, I'll be right back, and you can say anything you want while I'm gone, and nobody will know.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, except my headphones are still in, so I
Oh,
might
so
know.
you will know. Oh,
Yeah. I know
I was gonna say
I
anything you
I
want while I'm gone
forgot.
and no one will know. That's what
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
that's
that's
would have been
fine.
funny. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just be back.
Yeah. No orange juice. I can't even say anything funny without you knowing it. It was a really upsetting day for me. I'm I'll do this while Olivia's gone. I'm making a blanket out of really big chunky yarn. And this is what it looks like. It's really soft and thick and fluffy. So that's really fun. I'll probably just do that for a moment or two. I made this big ball because the yarn kept getting tangled in itself, but because the yarn's so big and poofy, it just keeps compressing in on itself. And so the ball itself never gets smaller, it just keeps kind of like poofing. So these are problems that I have that make my life infinitely harder to live.
A big ball, you say?